Hey everyone, welcome back to the shop. So today's video is totally different than what I normally do. It's kind of a surprise. I've been working on a television show with Sawblade.com, one of the members of the Toolmasters Association. Now, we're eventually going to have a TV show up on MAV TV, and we've been working on some rough ideas. Now, I put together a little 10-minute section of how I think the show could sort of go, and I'd love some feedback. Chris and I were talking about how we could get some feedback from people, and I said, I know the people to ask. Let me throw something up and see what you guys have to say. So the following 10 minutes are going to be kind of how I feel like the show should go. And what we're looking for is for some constructive criticism, what you thought of the context of the show, how it was laid out, and some improvements that I could make that would make it more entertaining for everybody to watch. So without further ado, here is 10 minutes of a show that we're talking about producing for television. I will warn you though, it's still a rough draft. I haven't normalized the audio, and some of the cuts are pretty rough. Aside from that, I'd love to know what you guys think of this show. Hi everyone, my name is Izzy Swan. I live in a pretty average neighborhood. We've got an average park. We have an average pool. Now you might say I'm a pretty average guy, except for one thing. I like to build some crazy stuff. Welcome to the very first episode of Building Blocks. Now, Building Blocks is going to be a little different than pretty much anything you've seen before because it's all being done by YouTubers. That's right, I am a YouTube content creator. I've been posting videos on YouTube now for about 3.5 years, and all those crazy clips you saw came from videos I've done over that time. Now today we're going to show you some more of those crazy clips and talk a little bit more about the builds, and also talk a little bit more about what Building Blocks means. Stick around. I built Bob the Dinosaur about 2 years ago, and he stood about 10 feet tall, a little over 15 feet long, and he's powered by an 18-volt cordless drill. Now at first glance you might think he's made out of metal. Well, he's not. He's made entirely out of wood. Now Bob's upper body and jaw are made out of 1/2-inch plywood. I drew a big dinosaur out, used a drill to start some holes, and cut the entire thing out with a jigsaw. And then there was sanding. There was a lot of sanding. Now Bob's tail, arms, and lower jaw were done pretty much the same way. I drew them out, cut them out with either the jigsaw or the bandsaw, did a little sanding, and then assembled the whole thing and painted it. Now Bob's bottom half started out a little differently than the top half. It started out as a singular build. It was a walking machine, again powered by a drill. Now this build is also mostly plywood. I started by designing a mechanism that worked based on the Dutch artist Theo Jensen's work. Now, I played with a couple different ideas, found one that worked, and started building it. All the parts were cut out of 3/4-inch plywood, then assembled with a homemade gearbox, painted and tested. Altogether, Bob took about 3 weeks to build. The kids got a big kick out of him, and it wasn't just the kids, the neighbors liked to get in the action too. But one thing's for sure, whenever Bob was out roaming the neighborhood, he was sure to draw a crowd. Now, not every build I do is wild and crazy like Bob.
A lot of my builds are how-to builds, like how to build a jig to get a job done in the shop, how to do something that'll save you money. And that's one of the really cool things about YouTube. If you want to learn how to do something, it's just a click away. So by now you could probably figure it out that there's no professional camera crew. I have a little Canon camcorder that's recording this, and it's all you need to make YouTube videos, which has opened up an entire world to content creators. There's lots of people out there doing it. Now, in upcoming episodes of Building Blocks, you're going to see other content creators, guys that build log furniture, guys that do some welding tips and tricks, other guys that do more woodworking projects and how-tos. But one thing's for sure, it's going to be something completely different, a little different than you've ever seen before, unless, of course, you already watch YouTube. So I realize a lot of you may not know what a typical YouTube video looks like. And there's really not a typical YouTube video. There's thousands of different creators, thousands of different styles, and some creators change their style all the time. Take me, for instance. I do it a lot. Before this next part, I'm going to play a video for you from start to finish. This is what one of my videos would have looked like a year ago.
Summer is in full swing here in South Carolina, and nothing says summer like an Adirondack chair. We're going to build the Adirondack chair that redneck dreams are made of. I don't think so. Definitely need one of those.
I love building things that make people smile, and this project was a home run. Now, as builds go, this one's pretty straightforward. I built this frame and threaded some 36-inch all thread through to use as a rear axle, and then mounted the frame of an Adirondack chair to this box, basically. Now, I beefed up the front a little bit because it's got to hold some weight, and I'm going to mount the steering mechanism to this whole front side. With the basic structure done, there was a ton of sanding.
Woohoo! Making some progress!
Stain dried in about 15 minutes, so I was able to keep moving, which is nice, doesn't interrupt the workflow. I then screwed on the back slats for the chair and came back and used my 18-gauge brad nailer to tack the seat slats on. So for the drive mechanism, I'm using a right angle gear reduction. It's a 7.5-to-1 gear reduction, and I just framed it in with some 2x material. And then when I had that done, I sprayed it with some stain. After everything was sprayed with stain, I'm using Pure Bond's acrylic to protect it, because I am going to leave this thing outside and I want to keep it nice looking for as long as possible. And for those of you who spray professionally, yes, I had the settings on my gun wrong. So off camera, I built the front of this and I mounted some batteries on it, and it turned out amazing. Absolutely turned out wonderful. I was really happy with this build. Now to make this go, I just have a cable wrapped around the drill, the trigger of the drill, and I pulled out on the handle. And then I 3D printed some battery holders so I could have some extra batteries with me, and I screwed those onto the front of the Adirondack chair tractor looking thing, and then threw a battery in, and it was really just time to test it. And it goes without saying that every drill powered Adirondack chair should have an umbrella to keep you shaded from the sun, and a place to hold a tablet so you can relax and watch a movie. And with the 16-inch wheels on this thing, it doesn't matter whether you're on the road, on the grass, or in the sand. It keeps on going. The next thing to do was to test and see how far one battery would take you. And of course I had plenty of volunteers to help figure that out. My daughter drove this thing all over the neighborhood. by the time everything was said and done, still going. And of course the neighbors had to get into the action. We had a lot of fun with this thing. All told, at the end of the day, we put almost 10 miles on this thing using 36-volt batteries.
For those of you who took the time to sit through the whole 10 minutes and watch that, we really would love some just feedback from you. Whether you liked it, you didn't like it, comment on what part of that you thought would be better and how we could make it better. Now, we're not going to use that particular clip on the television show itself. I said YouTube too many times, but we are interested in promoting YouTube on network television and in a small form. So we'll be using words like online content creator and stuff like that instead of YouTube. I will sneak a couple of YouTubes in there, of course. But let me know what you thought. We really want to get some feedback from you guys and to see if you like the format, what I could do to make it better. After all, you guys will be the ones watching it and you know best. Thanks for watching.